Welcome everybody to our first virtual open house for the MBA program. My name is Marco Rosenzweig. I am in charge of recruitment, HR and legal matters with Touro and will guide you through our virtual tour today. First, let me introduce our participants from the Touro side. We have Professor Dr. Fishbane, who is the head of all overseas campuses with Touro worldwide. Then we have Professor Dr. Chakraborty, who is the dean of the MBA program. Then we have Professor Dr. Anna Klipstein, who is also a professor with business students with Touro Berlin. Then we have Scott Meyer, our admissions officer, Tal Gibish, our main office manager, and Paolo Nuti. Shoutouts to Paolo, who is a student right now with our MBA program and a working professional, is right now during work time joining us and will later on tell us about how is it to study with Touro, what's it all about. So now that you know the faces, let me tell you quick and short about our today's program, what it's going to be. So I will give you in a second a small PowerPoint on Touro Berlin. Then I would hand over the word to Professor Dr. Chakraborty and to Anna Klipstein, Professor Klipstein, who will tell you about the program from the academic side. Then you will get some greetings from New York from Professor Dr. Fishbane, and who will tell you what is going on in New York, what is it like to be a part of the Touro family. Then Scott Meyer, our admissions officers, will shortly give you an insight on how it is to apply and so on. And then Paolo will tell you what it's like to be a student with us. Then we'll have a question section, meaning we got some questions in by mail in advance, which we'll happily answer. And then at the end, you'll have a goodie. You'll have a extra. You will be able to listen to an academic talk, to a case study, which will be held by our two professors. So let's keep moving and start with our presentation then. So is everybody seeing the presentation? Just give me a nod, or do we have connection issues? Very good. So welcome to Touro Berlin. Now on this first slide, you see our beautiful campus in Berlin, and we are an American university in Berlin, so the place to be. Founded in 2003, Touro College is part of an international network of Touro University system, which is based in New York, but we have sites all over the world, meaning in the US, in California, in Nevada, New York State, in Israel, in Russia, in Moscow, and in Berlin. So once you join Touro, you're part of the big family, and you can do a semester also abroad, which is a great thing. Our goal is to continue creating a multicultural, international environment for our students and to have a conducive learning. We strive to provide a unique opportunity of an international education entirely in English in Berlin on a Berlin campus. And we are very proud to be one of the only, it's unique to Berlin, higher education institutes to offer dual degree options accredited in Germany and in the US. And why to join our MBA program? What is so unique about that? So we are accredited by the Middle States and the New York State Department of Education. And our program is very intimate. It is with a lot of personal attention to every student's needs. We offer unique opportunities for internships, and after you graduate, excellent job opportunities. So in these times, a political question always arises. What about diversity? What is our student body like? So a big chunk, basically, obviously, while we are in Germany comes from Germany, but also from the US, from Western Europe, Russia, Eastern Europe, Asia, Africa, Israel, and the Middle East. Basically, counting all overall, roughly 70 nationalities are here on our campus in Berlin. And for an MBA, being a tailored product, of course you ask what I'll go and what I'll do with my degree. So people who have a degree with Touro, they joined Gazprom, went to Coca-Cola, went into pharmaceuticals, went into banking, or are joining the property business with JLL. The world is basically yours. Or if you have a degree with Touro, you can have your own company. Next one would be a lot of questions asked about what is student life. Paula will tell you, but we have an amazing student government which is re-elected once a year, and they offer a lot of activities. We have a lot of student clubs in many fields, events, holiday celebration, group study sessions, and many, many more. So if you have any questions while watching this presentation or this open house, reach out to us. We are here for you. You can give us a call, you can email us, or follow our social networks to see what it's like to be with Touro. So thank you for that, for your first impression that we could make. And now I would pass on to our two professors. Professor Chakraborty, the stage is yours.
Hello, I am Kishore Chakraborty. I am the Dean of Touro College's MBA program. Welcome to all of you and to our open house. The Touro College MBA program has 10 required courses and 4 electives. It takes 3 full semesters and a summer to finish the program, roughly about 18 months. So imagine, in 18 months, you could be out of here and in a job. It's also a fully accredited American MBA. You can see that we cover the standard functional courses in our program: accounting, finance, marketing, etc. The courses are covered through the case method and lectures, and is generally highly interactive. Our program is small, so we provide a lot of interaction that's close between faculty and our students. Our students have told us that they think our program a gem because our instructors are excellent. You will leave our program with a lot of business knowledge, but also a lot of functional skills and a tool set which will stand you in great stead in the job market. Our former graduates currently hold managerial positions in finance, in marketing, and strategic planning, for example. And lastly, but not least, I want to point out to you that Berlin is a wonderful place to live and study in. Living costs are very reasonable compared to other major cities, and most travel destinations in Europe are within a 2-hour flight. So what's stopping you? Come and join us. I will now turn it over to my colleague, Anna Klipstein, who will provide you with some other aspects of our program. So here's to you, Anna.
Thank you, Professor Chakraborty. My name is Anna Klipstein. I'm professor of finance and I teach in the both program, undergraduate and MBA program. And the big difference of our master business administration program is that it's very practical oriented program. It's a program which is very much oriented on business and your needs when you decide to manage, lead, or to set up a successful business. So this is the evening program for those who basically work. And during the evening sessions, as Professor Chakraborty already mentioned, we learn not only the theories, we learn a lot of practical tools how to become successful in marketing and management and finance, how to set up the business. So that's why this program is very, very good designed, not only for the business graduates, but also for those who graduate in engineering and pharmaceuticals and IT and other fields of knowledge and decided to continue their careers in business or set up their own business. That means if you have other degree than the business one and on the undergraduate level, you can join to Touro to the MBA. You just have to finish the preparatory course, which is specially designed for those who did not graduate from business. So this was my contribution to the information. If you will have any further questions, please do not hesitate to email to us directly.
Thank you so much to both of you, Professor Chakraborty and Professor Klipstein, for this first insight on our MBA program. Obviously, as you said, 100%. If you have any questions, just give us an email. Every one of us, you'll find us all on the web page and reach out directly for any inquiries. Now I would turn over to Professor Fishbane, who is joining us in New York right now, to tell us what's going on in New York and what it's like to be with the Touro system. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. It's my honor to participate in this open house. Touro College is a large institution with approximately 20,000 students. We have many departments. A large emphasis is on the medical, but also on our professional and graduate studies. One of these departments is our School of Business, our Graduate School of Business, which includes the MBA program. As mentioned earlier, this is a fully accredited program, both by Middle States and New York States, and at the present time, in the process of applying for other recognitions by different other forms of organizations, which is always looked positively upon by any type of professional program or professional degree. When you are part of this program, whether you're sitting in Russia, Israel, or Berlin, you are actually not only considered part of the Touro family, but you are actually part of the Touro system. Your registration, your information is all included within the Touro College International American system in New York, which sits in New York, which means that there's no difference between you and a student in the MBA program in New York or in California or in Berlin. You are part of Touro. That means that all the services, all the possibilities that Touro offers is offered to you too. From library to being able to come for any period of time you want to study in New York, and assistance with seeking out internships wherever they may be. You are part of the Touro College system and family for you to use the way you want it. This is unique. Unique because most other programs don't or can't offer such an opportunity. So when you finish your degree and you want to step out into the workforce, you have additional opportunities than just receiving an MBA from a program or from a university. You have everything that Touro is offering. But what they said earlier, and especially important, we encourage the Touro Berlin campus to offer you the full possibilities with assistance in finding internships and finding positions and jobs when you graduate. We're there to help them and therefore to help you. I wish you all the best of luck and look forward to see you on our programs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Fishbane, for this insight. And now I would hand over to Scott Meyer, our admissions officer, to tell you about the admission process.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Scott Meyer. I'm admissions officer here at Touro College Berlin. And today I'm going to give you a brief overview of our MBA admissions procedure. So for the sake of timeliness, I won't rattle off all the documents we require. You can find a comprehensive list of these on our website under the How to Apply page. But I have a couple of fundamental notes for you. So eligibility. We welcome students who hold a bachelor degree equivalent to an American bachelor degree to apply. Our MBA program is designed as a consecutive master program. This means you don't need to have any sort of minimal professional experience. You can come straight from your bachelor program and delve straight into your MBA studies. Professor Klipstein already mentioned that if you do not have a business background in your studies, we offer a preparatory program, which you can complete in just one semester. Once you have all the application documents ready, you can email scans directly to me or send by post if you prefer. Once I've received them, I will immediately be in contact via email to advise how to proceed. This leads me on to perhaps the most important aspect of our admissions that I want to impress upon you today. We are hands-on, we're responsive, and we're solutions-oriented. If you have trouble acquiring documents or understanding the process at all, don't hesitate to contact me at admissions@touroberlin.de. I'm sure we can find a solution to any issues you might have. So I urge you to come join us and enjoy the rest of today's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. That was very informative. And we have a few questions for you later on that we got in beforehand via mail. So be prepared for those. Now I would hand over to Paolo Nuti, one of our MBA students right now, who has agreed to join us and tell about what it's like to be with Touro. Paolo, stage is yours.
Hi everyone, my name is Paolo Nuti and I'm an MBA student in Touro College Berlin. And today I decided to invest a little bit of my time to tell you about my experience with this school. So I'm originally from Italy, where I graduated in 2018 in pharmaceutical sciences and technology. And then I decided to move to Berlin seeking new challenges and opportunities. I started working in the pharmaceutical industry, especially in the field of product management. After a certain period of time, I realized that I was missing some knowledge, especially in the business field. So I was very concerned because as Italian, German was quite difficult for me, quite challenging. So I was very undecided whether to start a German-speaking university course. By looking around, I found out about Touro. Touro, it's completely in English, and that for me was a blessing. I decided to give it a try. So I went to Touro College, I decided to enroll. First of all, I was astonished because the help that I received for the enrollment was astonishing. Everything was simplified, the procedure was very easy. The secretary helped me retrieving the documents, and so I started my experience. What I can say about this school, it's first of all, this school is absolutely international. There's people from every part of the world. It's a very diverse environment that it's learning oriented. All the professors are there to push you and to connect you with the working world. So this is not a university like, for example, in Italy, I experienced it firsthand, that leaves you there. This university connects you to the working world, and this for me was fundamental. Another part is that, of course, the school, as I said, it's in English. This for me was a huge help. And another point that I think is worth mentioning, and it's very, very important for me, is that the classes are not numerous. There are few students, meaning that the lessons are very intimate, almost one-on-one. And me, I come from a public university in Italy where we had like 200 students in classes. And so your questions, they just go lost among the others. You're just a number. Here, you're not a number, you're a person. And that's for me, that was changed everything. Today, I did not even graduate. I still missed 2 semesters. And here I am in my office. I got a full-time job. It's a very good job, honestly. And yeah, and this is my experience. And I will recommend this school any day, any day. This school is great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paolo, very much for your insight. And this is a lift up for us. Very helpful to hear these warm words.
You're welcome.
So now we are there with our questions section. As we are segmenting our virtual open house into different rooms, we have one participant joining us in this room. And if you have any question, just shout out. Otherwise, I got a few questions which were sent beforehand via mail, and I would read out those and distribute to our Touro participants anyhow. So first question is, I would like to come to Berlin, especially for the MBA program. Will you help us, or will you help me, with finding a place to live and starting in a new country? So we have Tal Giddish here, our main office manager, who I would forward this question to answer.
Hi everyone, thank you, Michael. We help with relocation process as much as we can. A lot of things can be done alone, but we provide everything that is possible, including with housing, including with registration, and also scholarships. So we provide all of this help. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Tal. So in addition, we do have a relocation guide, which is a great thing, and we are working with different partners in terms of housing. So you can definitely reach out on this question to us. You already mentioned basically one of my next questions, and this is there a possibility to get a scholarship? So I would ask Scott, do we have possibilities to help there?
Absolutely, of course. So there's 2 ways to go about this. There's financial aid, which American students can absolutely get, or FAFSA, veterans benefits, anything you can get in America, you can get while studying our American MBA program. Scholarships, I will direct you to our website. There is a comprehensive list of scholarships that students studying here can apply for, and we can help you find the one that is most likely to accept you. Thank you.
Thank you. So next question here is concerning coronas to some extent. In times of corona, which measurements are you taking? And is teaching on campus or is it online? And what's it going to be in the next semester? So basically 3 questions in one. Me being a lawyer and also doing the legal side for Touro Berlin, I would try to answer that. So right now, the Berlin government is only allowing online teaching. So this means our school is now 100% functioning online. For the next semester, it will depend on Berlin government, but as it seems right now, it's going to be a what they call hybrid semester, meaning some classes will be online and some classes will be offline, so on campus. That is the status right now that we can tell on that. And of course, we are taking measurements and precautions. We are having a special corona planning, which means we'll keep all necessary social distance. We have all the facilities here for hygiene. So you can be assured that we are obeying to all government rules and are even doing better than that in any perspective of the coronavirus. So be reassured with that. So my last question on my list, if we don't have any live questions, will be also to Scott to some extent, and we touched it, I would say, but still, it might be interesting. So what's the best way to apply for the MBA program? Do I do that online or offline? And the documents you basically already said, you can provide them either scanned or via post. But nonetheless, just give it a quick recap because we get that question very often.
Yeah, sure thing. So when applying, I think the easiest way would be just to scan all your documents and email them directly to me. It's the quickest way to make sure we get them. Of course, if you wanted to send physical copies by post, you're more than welcome. Either way, we will let you know as soon as we've received them. Once you're accepted, if you've sent scans, we'll need to see the originals of your documents, but just to make sure that we can process your application as quickly as possible, a scan via email is the best way forward.
Great. So if there are no more questions, we would move on to our last section of our virtual open house, which is our case study. I will therefore share the case with you, and then the stage is yours, Professor Chakraborty and Professor Klipstein. Can everybody see the case?
Yes.
Great. And you also got it in advance via mail, so we are good with that.
Hello, everybody. This is Kishore Chakraborty again. I will, with Professor Klipstein, conduct a brief podcast-like session about this very, very short case, which has excited my students a lot. As you all know, the coronavirus has created a two-pronged crisis. One is a medical crisis, and the other is an economic crisis. And we cannot deal with the medical crisis here. Our concern is the economic crisis. Now, the economic crisis can be handled with two arms of the government. One is what is called through monetary policy, which is conducted by the central bank. And the second one is fiscal policy, which is conducted by the government. Now you can see that the central bank can do a lot of things. It can lower the interest rate, it can provide loans, it can lower the reserve requirement of banks, and it can free up a lot of money. Similarly, on the fiscal side, the government can also lower taxes, provide loan guarantees, and also give what is sometimes referred to as helicopter money, give cash allowances to the citizens who work. Now, most countries have used both arms and jointly, and therefore we have survived up to this point somewhat well in terms of the economic crisis. However, note that this means that banks in particular have had to face enormous issues related to bankruptcy, and the government eventually will face an issue of debt. Now, I want to bring in at this point Professor Klipstein, who has the advantage also of having been a banker. And I will tell you from my own experience of teaching and knowing finance teachers around the world, she's one of the best finance teachers I've ever known. So why don't I turn it over to her to ask her what she thinks of the crisis?
Well, thank you, Kishore, and thank you for the introduction to the current situation. It's absolutely right what you have said. And the most industrial countries, the central banks like Federal Reserve System, European Central Bank, Bank of England, they designed financial support programs for the economies, also the governments, with helicopter programs, with the support of the businesses, with the backup of loans for the businesses, try to create an additional support for the economies, but nevertheless, of course, we faced and the world economy faced the time of troubles. You mentioned banking sector, and banking sector is a diverse thing. If we speak about the major banks who has a big loan portfolios, they will of course suffer. They already start to prepare for the next month and maybe next year.
Yes, if I might interrupt you here quickly, if you look at the chart, you will see that the three major banks in the US face eye-watering amounts in terms of loan reserves, meaning that they are now preparing to meet all these bankruptcies where they will have to essentially write off the debt. And more is coming down the line. There is expectations that it might turn into a tsunami. What is your view on this, Professor Klipstein?
Well, it should be collaboration between the private banks, the commercial banks, and probably the governments and international financial supervisory authorities, because the banks are, of course, have a very tight regulation after the crisis 2008. If we speak about Basel III Accord, it's a direct link between the amount of risky assets, preferably loans, to the amount of their own capital on the bank side, and it's limited the banking lending capacity. So at the same time, the banks like Citibank, Deutsche Bank, it was yesterday in the news, they increase their additional internal reserves to balance the situation with the upcoming bad loans. And on the other hand, the investment banks, that's another category of the banks, now doing perfectly fine, because we have a high volatility on financial markets, a lot of increased amount of transactions, and the investment banks, they earn commissions on these transactions. So banks like Goldman Sachs, they now make a huge amount of money. So they are on the profit side.
You mentioned something interesting, which is you use the term assets. Generally, a banking crisis occurs and bankruptcy for any firm occurs when assets and liabilities create pressures. So far, we don't seem to see that in the banking industry. Most of the pressure is on the liability side with the loans. Do you see any trouble coming in the future on the asset side?
Well, in fact, in the banking sector, it's a very special one. It's not like a normal company. The liabilities are our current accounts and our time deposits, and the assets are the loans. Yeah. So the bank, because the bank providing the loans generate the revenues.
Yes, but if the bad debt stops being an asset, you have to write it off. Correct?
Well, it's a little bit different in the banking world. You can also sell the bad loan. So you have another possibility.
Yes.
You can wrap it into the financial product and sell it on the secondary market. So here there are a lot of opportunities. So the situation is not so simple. It's quite complex. But after the crisis 2008, the good thing is that the banking system and also the supervisory system of the governments are already equipped, and they're quite robust against the financial shocks.
So let's ask some of our respondents who are listening, what bothers you about what you see and read here? Anybody?
Mm-hmm. Good question to everyone, to all participants.
Would you be worried when you see these kinds of things?
So I'll try and answer, but me being basically really a lawyer and not a economic person, as you said, I have the fear personally what will happen in terms of inflation with our money once we are. I understand that that is the right thing to do right now, but what will happen with our cash directly and also with other assets, saying prices for for properties and so on with this crisis situation. So will there be a balance, or because we are getting so much fresh money in, will this lead to another way of crisis, meaning lead to a financial crisis after the humanitarian crisis we are facing? But that's just me as a lawyer speaking.
This is very
Yeah, you want to answer that?
This is very right comments. And in my view, as of today, the fear of the inflation and the threat of the inflation is more serious than the potential bankruptcy of the banks. As I mentioned, the banking system after crisis 2008 is quite well equipped, but the inflation and inflationary tendencies are the reality nowadays. And that explains why we have a historical high for the gold prices. This explains why the Bitcoin is over 10,000 currently, and it's an attempt of the investors to escape in a secure haven.
Okay, I just want to add one other thing to the question that Michael asked, which is that if you look at the data, one of the most important things, it requires a little technical discussion, but I will try to keep it as simple as possible. Interest rates go down, right? So let's say we start at 5, 5 becomes 4, 4 becomes 3, 2 becomes 1, 1 becomes what, Michael?
Help him
What
zero.
does 1 become if we keep going down? At some point we reach
Mathematically, zero, I guess.
Yes, 0. Now that is termed the zero lower bound, or ZLB, of the interest. And this is where your question about inflation shows us that the interest rate is so low. In many countries, it's near ZLB, and occasionally some countries like Japan have crossed the ZLB, and the interest rate has been negative. So inflation is not really a worry in terms of the debt. The real issue is that retired people and people on fixed incomes, essentially their savings are not earning anything. And so they are in deep trouble.
Yeah. Well, that's why I am being the academic advisor to the Business Association in Germany, advocate for so-called structural supporting bonds. So we can name this investment opportunity differently. But the meaning is that the savers could invest the money safely in a bond with a nice interest rate, let's say 5 or 4% on a long-term basis, up to 10 years. And their collected money should be provided as a loan to the businesses, back up with a state guarantee. And this could be kind of a hybrid investment possibility to help both the savers, yeah, and the businesses. So this could be one opportunity to cope with the crisis.
That's true. That's a very good advice. They are lucky to have you as an advisor.
Thank you.
We are.
I think we could go on for a long time with this discussion because the issues raised are very rich. Paolo, do you want to say something from the Italian perspective?
Of course, Italy, unfortunately, we used to be the 5th economic power in Europe in the 90s. Now we went down 4 places in the ranking, now we're 9th. Corona crisis did not help you, considering that if anyone saw the news, the epicenter, let's say, of the Corona crisis was in Italy. So of course the situation went down further. What I can say is that I completely agree with Dr. Klipstein, because she said that it's not the act or the situation in itself, but it's the fear of the situation that of course influences the financial market. And these of course have huge repercussions, very serious ones, on our daily lives and on our financial resources.
Right.
Okay, we can end it here. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Michael, do you want to say a few last words?
Yes, of course. So, as you just said, thank you everybody. Thank you everybody who participated from the Touro side in this event. And I'm hoping that we'll have many more of this for interested students. Once again, if you have anything, just reach out, write us an email. We are here to help. And I hope to see you all on campus very soon, and stay healthy for the meanwhile. Take care and bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.